Hi all, it's Jan of the Jan Files. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. I initially was going to make a post about health care and insurance and Republicans and all that, and then of course last night happened. So last night, I'm sure you know, there was an incident with a shooter at the White House Press Correspondents' Dinner. And Trump was there, Melania was there, Vance was there, Blanche was there, they all were there. And we're not really sure what happened in the sense that we know that there was a man who was arrested and that he had a gun and knives. And I'm not sure that they have clarified whether he actually shot off a gun or whether it was the Secret Service who shot and actually maybe there was some friendly fire. I don't know. But I need to talk about the media because I just watched something on MSN, MS Now, with Jonathan Capehart, Eugene, I don't remember his name, and I'm not sure who the other one was. And, you know, they were flipping out that people thought that this might be a false flag operation. And they were like, we were there, you know, we had to get on the floor. We had to, you know, people were calling their mothers and families and blah, blah, blah. And they were really upset that anybody would think that this wasn't, quote, real. Now, let's back up a little. Because there are lots of people who are claiming right now that this was a false flag operation, that this is just Donald Trump style to create a distraction away from Iran war now and Epstein and whatever. And so it was fascinating for me to hear them speak because they were like, we were there, it was real. First of all, folks, nobody's saying it wasn't real in the sense that you didn't experience fear and that there wasn't a man with a gun. There was, clearly. So that whole being upset about people thinking it's a false flag operation, really, those two things you're talking about doesn't connect. And they really weren't looking at themselves, obviously, the media. But they were now like kind of looking at American society, which, by the way, the media is a really good reflection of you, okay? Because Americans rely on the media to give them what is going on and usually, hopefully, the facts. But now that doesn't happen so much, does it? And so the idea that anybody is saying that the American public is like losing it or what's going on, what does it say about us, because we think that this might be yet another distraction. Really? Are you not paying attention to what has been happening for a year and a half? Have you not been paying attention? I mean, the idea that Americans don't have a reason to think that this might not be real is ludicrous. We have lots of reasons to believe it might not be real because we are constantly lied to. And we also, and I was really not happy that it was MS Now because that's usually the only place I actually watch on television because I found it ridiculous. I didn't find their fear ridiculous. I have compassion for them having to go through that experience. I'm not suggesting they didn't go through something. But to now come and look at us and say, hey, look what has happened to Americans is both the left and the right now, and, you know, everybody's crazy. No, we're not. We're really responding to you for now eons not doing your fucking jobs. Okay? And again, today shows exactly what I'm talking about. Dana Bash got on with Jamie Raskin and basically wanted to say, you know, maybe Democrats have what's the word? I can't the saying, whatever. Anyway, Democrats are part of the reason we got here. Literally said that. Nothing about, Trump lying, Trump calling and wanting people to be killed on his social media posts. Nothing about Trump saying, he wants to, basically commit genocide by exterminating a whole civilization. I mean, like, what? And this again, and Brian Stelter was fired by CNN, is back, probably because they were planning for the Ellisons to take over. Said, he didn't blame the media this time. He said, we're all in this together. That is and I'm taking this because I saw Aaron Parnas point it out. So I want to give credit where credit is due. And he's damn right. Brian Stelter has done this throughout Trump's, since 2015. And he's not the only ones. Whether it's Dana Bash, whether it's Katie Tur, whether it's Chuck Todd, whether it's Jake Tapper, whether it's Van Jones, there is a whole set, what I would describe as incompetent journalists who had no idea what their role is. It is not to do both sides. It is to evaluate, report on what is happening, but making sure that you frame it in the context of facts. And not taking sides or anything like that. But the problem is, there are times when there are Republicans and sometimes Democrats that are wrong. You have to be able to say it. You have to be able to say, that is not true. What you're saying is not true. And only now do you see some of these trying to push back a little with, and everybody's applauding when they push back a little and saying to a Republican, actually, no, tariffs do not get paid by foreign countries. They get paid by the consumer. Do you know how many times we heard all of that nonsense from Trump and his imbeciles, and they weren't pushed back against? And now here we are finding ourselves in yet another situation where, we'll see whether the facts come out, because the facts didn't come out about Butler, folks. There's so much we don't know, and there's no reason for us not to know. There's so much that the family of the man who was murdered, they don't know. They're not getting answers still. And so this idea that Americans should just, yes, it's real, it happened, whatever, and not question it is stupefying from the media. Can you not say, instead of saying, this is where we are as Americans, how about you say, many Americans have gone through this whole Iran war story, recognizing that they have been lied and lied and lied to by the President of the United States and by his cronies. They lie. They lie in front of Congress. They lie on the stand. They just lie. And for you to sit here and act like we should just all accept whatever the fuck you tell us is really, really ludicrous, stupid, and one of the reasons why we are the fuck here. And it is, I'm angry, obviously, but I take offense to it. I take offense as an American who has been looking and seeking the truth far more than I think a lot of the, quote, professionals out there. And that and look, I'm not scouring the channels. There may be people out there saying it. And if there are, please, forward me some of those comments, because I would like to know. But the fact is that Dana Bash said that. Also, what's your face on Face the Nation, Martha somebody, just ludicrous. Why don't you look to yourselves, media? Why don't you look to Chuck Todd, Philip Bump? Why don't we talk about all of those people that made a big deal out of a nothing burger of Hillary Clinton's email server that helped her to lose the election? Why don't we talk to them right now? Because if they had even done their homework, and I wrote a piece about this at the time, and I did a lot of research in terms of also the Inspector General's report. This email thing was a nothing burger. But these guys, especially guys, there are a few in there, Katie Tour and others, that wouldn't let it go. They wouldn't let it go. They still don't know the facts to this day of exactly what happened, or did they pay attention to the Inspector General's report on Hillary Clinton's use of her private server. So, this is a prime example of why the media has failed us, the mainstream media, because they don't get it. Because they don't see what they have done. And they're not alone. The Republican Party and any Democrat that, bullshits and lies, that's the reason we're here, right? But a good part of it is the fact that the Republican Party has zero relationship to the truth. They once did, they no longer do. So pardon me and pardon all the Americans that are going to question now everything that happens, because we've been lied to and we haven't been able to count on you, mainstream media. So all I'm going to say is keep supporting independent media. Mainstream media, CBS has gone like this, CNN has never been great, whatever, but they're going to go like this too. And after seeing that on MS Now, I was just like, are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy? That you think you're going to blame the American public? Yes, I'm not going to even go there, but there's a whole thing about the fact that we do need to educate ourselves more in this country. But that's beside the point. This is not at our feet. I don't know what I believe about what happened yesterday, but I would not for a second put it past Trump and his cronies to do a false flag operation. I have no reason not to believe that. They have no relationship to the truth and facts. And the last thing I'm going to say is make sure, folks, our community, okay, our blue community, that we stick with the facts. Opinions are one thing, but please don't show me. I get videos sometimes and, they're made up. And I'm not talking about funny videos. Keep sending me funny videos because I love to laugh. But please, not this AI bullshit where Melania is kissing Epstein. Stop. We cannot do that. We have to be, as I always say, the change you want to see, which means the facts, smart thinking, authentic, being able to admit when you're wrong, and also accepting that we also can be right and not let anybody shake you from that. So that's my major media rant for the day. As usual, it's a complete and utter disappointment.